indeed. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Not every realtor likes the new home buyer tax credit program. John in Waleska, Georgia, has this to say in an email to us. Realtors like me see the program for what it is, a temporary, feel-good measure that will do nothing to restore the housing market, stimulating job creation. That's what we need. Well, joining us now is Los Angeles real estate broker Connie De Groot, and she supports this tax credit home buyers program. Connie, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Right up front, let me outline the problems right up front. Number one, there is proof that this is a heavily corrupt program. We know that. We've got empirical proof that that is the case. Number two, the Brookings Institution tells us that the actual cost per home sold because of this program is like $43,000 per home. Very, very expensive. Number three, extending this program adds mightily to the deficit, but you still support it. What's so good about it?
Well, first of all, let me address two of your points regarding fraud. There is fraud everywhere. Unfortunately, it's a terrible thing, but unless we want to close down all the governments, all businesses, there are always going to be people that try and take advantage of something good. I think that there are many different indicators that have shown that this has definitely worked. We're looking at, if we were to give 1 million home buyers the $8,000 tax credit, the maximum, that would cost $8 billion. Right now in Washington, they're looking at a health care plan, which could cost $800 billion to over $1 trillion. And we passed the stimulus for $800 billion as well. So this is to give 1 million home buyers this credit. It would cost $8 billion. That's 1% of both those programs.
Okay.
So it's a lot of money. But if Connie, you compare those two things, the other thing, I want to say one other thing before we go on, that when somebody buys a home, they also buy things for their home. So they're going to spend more than that $8,000 on fixing up the homes, especially for distress sales.
That's a fair point, and I'm glad you made it. This Brookings Institution study also found that 85% of the homes bought within this program, they would have been sold anyway. It didn't stimulate new sales, which means that you've spent an awful lot of money on a very limited number of actually stimulated sales. My point would be, you can't afford it. We're broke. You can't afford it.
Well, yeah, I agree, and that's a very good point, and I agree with that point, actually. Many of these people would have moved forward, but when? When were they going to move forward? We need help now. We need to stabilize housing. We need to stabilize the prices. We need to keep small businesses that are dependent on housing. We need to keep their doors open. So we can't wait for 6 months or a year when that buyer decides, well, maybe I'll buy, next month or next year. So we add urgency. We get people to move forward now. And when 20% of GDP is related to housing or housing-related services, this is something very, very important, and we've shown that it's worked. Pending home sales were up to over 21% year over year in September. And first-time home buyers many months ago were 50%. So
Connie De Groot, you make some very good points, and you express yourself in a very articulate fashion. We're very glad you came on the program today. It's good stuff. Thanks a lot, Connie.
Thank you for having me.
All right,
Thanks.
from homes, that's residential homes, to commercial real estate.